Welcome back to Big First Night Modern at Magic Corner Vienna. My name is Michael and joining me is Walter. So we have got two great players here. On the left we have Daniel Kapler playing FAERIES and on the right we have Patrick Smadana playing DREDGE. So let's head straight to the deck day.
Yeah, so Daniel on the left here, he's a regular on FAERIES decks. He's also tried Grixis FAERIES before, but this time here he's playing just straight blue-black FAERIES with Chase the Mind Sculptor in it. It's a pretty general FAERIES list, which means you have 4 copies of Bitter Blossom, which is what your deck is built around, together with the 4 copies of Spellstutter Sprite. So Bitter Blossom creates tokens, it's a fairy itself because it's a tribal fairy enchantment, and so it counts towards Spellstutter Sprite. And Spellstutter Sprite just being able to counter spells with a converted mana cost the same or lower as the number of fairies you control. You also got Mutavaults, more fairies. The other fairies you got are Vendilion Click, which is great. It's just a nice tempo beta. You've got Mistbind Click as your big fairy top end, which lets you tap out your opponent of their mana on their upkeep by championing a fairy, including Bitter Blossom, Mutavault, and then you also got the Chases the Mind Sculptor's additional 4 drops here for just late game power. You're also playing 3 copies of Cryptic Command, so a lot of force here, and then your cheaper interaction is Fatal Push and Murderous Cut for removal, Logic Knots for counters, and then you also have 3 copies of Inquisition and 2 copies of Thoughtseize, which are very important here in the DREDGE matchup, because like in the Hollow One match, if you watch that, the one we covered earlier, here the same applies for DREDGE, the same principle. This card is good against them because it lets you take away the enablers, which here is Faithless Looting and Cathartic Reunion compared to the Goblin Lore and Burning Inquiry and Faithless Looting from Hollow One, but it's the same principle here. And you also got 3 copies of Serum Visions here in Daniel's list to smooth out the draws. In terms of lands, you have, besides the Mutavaults already mentioned, you got 3 Creeping Tuppets, so 6 creature lands altogether, and also 2 Field of Ruins, which is not very important. But Creeping Tuppet also nice in the DREDGE matchup because it can be erased and in the end you get the last points of damage through with your land, so that's kind of useful because it just fastens your clock. So what about the DREDGE list here, Michi?
Well, it's a pretty basic DREDGE list, playing as DREDGEs Golgari Fug and Stinkweed Imp. And to bring back like great cards like Prized Amalgam if something from a graveyard entered the battlefield this turn, which can happen with Haunted Dead or Bloodgast. You can put it into play at the end step, is it? Yes.
Tapped. It gets put on the battlefield, tapped in the next end step.
At the next end step. So, for example, you have second main phase, return your Haunted Dead for 1 generic and 1 black. And yeah, this is how it works. And then you, of course, have Narcomoeba, which can come into play if it's being dredged from the deck. Trigger goes on stack, and after all the dredging stuff resolves, it comes into play. Really nice and sweet card. And as Walter mentioned, he's playing as enablers Cathartic Reunion, because you first have to discard 2 cards, so you discard your dredge enablers, and then you draw 3 cards. Yeah, most likely you want to dredge those 3 cards with cards in your graveyard, like Stinkweed Imp or Golgari Fug, and get your game going. Another great card, which can be for direct damage or as a mass removal, is Conflict Rate. You can play it out of your graveyard or out of your hand, usually out of your graveyard, because then you can just discard cards, and to get these nice cards in your hand you get 3 life from the loam. And as creature removal he's playing 2 Dark Blast and 2 Lightning Axe in his main deck. So, well, this is basically the DREDGE deck, and we will see which player is going to be the winner of this game. So, both players have already shuffled up their decks and they have already drawn the first 7 cards, and our good friend Kevin is putting the life counter in play.
Life counter has resolved, it has entered the battlefield, and now its static ability of being able to track down players' life totals will be active.
Isn't the life counter like a Leyline or so? It enters before.
Yeah, that's true. It's actually, it's a pre-game effect. Unclear if the life counter entered here before the game started or not, we're not sure on the timing. But we saw just the Serum Visions here. Daniel was able to set up some draws, but here we already have a Faithless Looting, which means that we see if there's some Dredges being put in the graveyard. Here, 2 Dredges, great life from the loam, and Stinkweed Imp. 1 Stinkweed Imp, Dredge 5, life from the loam, Dredge 3. Yeah.
Well, what do we see here? This is a promo card. I have no idea what it is.
It's Bitter Blossom.
Bitter Blossom. Thank you very much,
But it's
Walter.
sweet. It has two very purple fairies on it. Bitter Blossom is okay. He needs to have some pressure, but
sweet.
now we see dredging happening, Narcomoeba already happening, Bloodgust happening with an additional land drop, which is very likely going to be in Patrick's hand here.
Yeah, sweet, really nice. So the first two creatures are going to be on board. So we do see what Mountain here, trigger Bloodgust, comes into play. Still no haste because, opponent is still over 10 life, but yeah, well, it's okay, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
This
now
is
the life
interesting.
total will start dwindling here while Daniel is getting his tokens out of his deck box. Here for the Bitter Blossom going down to 17, first fairy enters the battlefield. And now he really needs to be able to disrupt Daniel somehow, but a lot of the damage has already been done because there's another dredger here. The Life from Loam engine is going on. There's his access to another looting. He already has some threats on the board, so he just can kind of mitigate the damage now. And he needs to be able to race. So he needs to get down cards like Vendilion Click. And he has to hope that this price amalgam is not going to enter immediately, right?
Yeah, hopefully this is not going to enter. I do see a Haunted Dad in his hand. He also has a Lightning Axe with which he can discard it. So, and two Narcomoebas in hand, so not really the greatest hand for Patrick here.
I mean, you can discard the Narcomoebas to Flashback Faithless Looting with another land.
Sure,
right?
of course you
And
can
get
do that,
better
but
cards. But you
I
want to
think
discard the dredges first.
wants to
probably.
discard the Treasures first, and of course also the Haunted Dad. Because to get more game going on the board and discard more nonsense cards here.
Yeah, hard casting Haunted Dead costs 4 mana. That is
No,
out of the
not
question
hard,
very
not
often.
hard casting.
I know that you mean that would be the alternative. You're saying you need to get your graveyard, and I'm saying yeah, I agree because hard casting it is not very
with
easy
Lightning
for 4
Axe.
mana. Yeah.
For 1 mana, discard as additional cost. You have to discard the card. You just destroy the token and
Yeah, Lightning Axe is great against cards like Vendilion Click. Lightning Axing a 1/1 Bitter Blossom token seems not like the best play you can be making, but it's an option. But you can probably wait on the Axe a bit more and see if there's another target, because you know that a Fairies deck will play the card Vendilion Click, which is kind of annoying because if Narcomoeba, for example, gets pushed, then Vendilion Click actually pressures for 3 a turn.
Maybe we're going to see a Vendilion Click here. Yes, we do see a Vendilion
Yeah.
Click here, which is the perfect target for Lightning Axe, and he should.
I would Lightning
it.
Axe with the trick on the stack.
Sure, with the trigger on this deck.
If I'm the target, maybe Daniel's targeting himself, but I would target my
Might be.
opponent here in this situation. I would definitely target the opponent.
Yes, I would also target the opponent because a lot of cards in Patrick's hand, so a lot of stuff to go on.
Yeah, now what's happening here is the Lightning Axe is actually happening. Patrick was just thinking about it for a little bit. Lightning Axe is being put on a stack. Patrick is still thinking what to discard. He's going for the Stinkweed Imp.
Sorry for the
And
disruption.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my mom called, but yeah, that happens. Phone's off now, and we can continue to commentate this match here. And now this interaction is worked out quite well.
No, he
I
discarded
think,
Stinkweed Imp.
yeah, he discarded
Why?
Stinkweed Imp, and now the Haunted Dad will be put on the bottom of Patrick's
Sure.
library, I think. Is that right? What happened?
I mean, there are 2 left from the Loam in his graveyard, so he has stretches going on, so...
Oh, did Daniel just say keep all those cards? Yeah, you keep all those cards. I mean,
Okay.
the Haunted Dad doesn't
Doesn't
he can
do anything
cast
in
it
his
next turn though.
It doesn't matter really, I think.
I might have just... Yeah, I think the reasoning is that, yeah, taking a card might give him a really amazing card, like a Cathartic Reunion or something, while hanging with a decent card in hand. I'm not sure about this.
No, if he's now going to dredge life from the Loam, the Stinkweed Imp discard would have been obsolete.
I think he's gonna dredge the Imp. Dredging for
He
5
has to.
is very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in this situation, I think he has to dredge the Imp because there are first
Why wouldn't
no
you?
lands in his graveyard.
And now we're hitting a Conflagrate. This is
What's
nice.
this black card?
It's a Golgari Thug. The
It's a
black
Golgari
card on
Thug.
top is a
Oh,
Golgari
damn.
Thug.
He
But
really needed this Haunted Dad in his graveyard.
yeah, because that would bring back 2 copies priced
Yes.
amalgam right now. And this would be 6 additional powers, because right now Daniel is making Bitter Blossom tokens. Trading with the Bloodgust still sucks. You don't have to do it now, but you can do it in the future. You can't go too low because your own Bitter Blossom will keep eating your life. You might be able to champion it with a Mistman Click if he has one in hand, would be great. Kind of tapping out Patrick for a turn here and just going for the full-on beatdown.
So what is going to happen here? Is he going to play his Faithless Looting flashback from his graveyard, or what is he doing? Oh, maybe he's going to go for a big Conflagrate and
He's going for Conflagrate here, which will get rid of both of those fairy tokens and deal a lot of damage and get a lot of unnecessary cards into the graveyard, which include those Narcomoebas, which he would not be able to hardcast, and they would not be very impressive if he were.
Not against Bitter Blossom. Okay, so we do see a Conflagrate being cast here.
How much damage did go to Daniel's face? Any additional damage?
Both of his creatures are but you know what? Why didn't he Blade before attacks? Then he could have attacked with his Narcomoeba too.
Yeah, not sure about this. I think this might have been just missequencing because he realized after attack that Conflagrating is his best play, and it's obviously still good to back down and not go with your initial play if it's worse. Even if you made a play that made it a bit less than optimal, it's still the overall better EV play than just going through with what you initially planned for.
I already saw that card in the fairy player's hand. It's a Thoughtseize. I'm not really sure if he's going to
Thoughtseize is great against Dredge on turn 1 or maybe turn 2 on the play. This is not where we're at in the game. And now we have what happens. Haunted Dad finally enters the battlefield after it was discarded to flashback Conflagrate. And then Price Amalgams came back, and then it would have just been beaten down by a huge army of creatures raised from the undead.
While still losing 1 life each turn to Bitter Blossom.
Yep, so this is kind of how I expected game 1 to play out. I mean, there's the question. What can we do in sideboarding? Is Dredge able to make this already very, very favorable seeming matchup even more favorable through sideboarding mission?
I think Gary Germ deals 1 damage to each creature.
Do you know what it also does? It kills Bitter Blossom if you need to. Seems solid.
Destroys an enchantment. Then we do have Maelstrom Pulse. Maybe this would be something. Engineered Explosives. Do you know what Gnaw to the Bone does? Because
yes, I know Gnaw to the Bone is very, very nice anti-aggro masher here in the Dredge sideboard. It's an instant for 2 and a green that has flashback for 2 and a green. It gains 2 life for each creature in the graveyard.
3, I think.
I think it's 2. Is it 3?
Doesn't matter. 2 or 3. Look it up if you want to know it.
I think it's 2, but it might be 3. 2 more likely gains you a lot of life in the Dredge deck because you get some creatures in the graveyard and you get to flashback it. I'm not sure if it has enough applications in the Dredge matchup.
Nah.
It might be okay-ish, but I think
in this
generally don't really want it. But it's very nice to have as an option.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to play it. He's also playing 3 Collective Brutalities. I'm not really a fan of it in this matchup because he already got everything he wants to do. Maybe, 1 Abrupt Decay maybe main, so he can handle some weird artifact thingies. And what do you say?
Yeah, so Daniel here, his game 1 is pretty abysmal because he has a lot of dead cards like Fatal Push, Murderous Cut. Those removals don't do anything because all the creatures that you care about can come back from the graveyard again. Then there's some stuff like Chase the Mind Sculpt, which just seems really bad for 4 mana in this matchup. Bitter Blossom you probably need, but those cards are all kind of bad. Your discard is good, and in your sideboard you have some really good cards. You have 2 Surgic Extractions, which can be very effective. You've got 1 Relic of Progenitors here. What is he boarding out?
He already flipped one of his Fatal Bushes. I think it's the...
I mean, it's clear that he will board them out. Then he also has 1 copy of Kalidas, Trader of Get, which is also nice against Dredge, making their cards get exiled while creating zombies. And then there's some cards I would like to see those 2 counter squads come in because they counter some things that matter on the play. They do counter. They do counter looting, so something at some point, and what they counter most importantly is Conflagrate at all times, which is one of the more important cards because that just gets you and really, really gives the Dredge deck a lot of reach that it wouldn't have otherwise. There is also the Nation. If you take those 7 cards I talked about before out of your deck for sideboarding, you would have room for 1 Damnation. Damnation is kind of because it gets you to not get killed, but then a lot of those creatures can come back, but it can still wipe the board of all Narcomoebas and other things. So might be still an option as a one-off here, because it's probably better than cards that get boarded out.
Do you know the interaction between Damnation and Kalidas?
The interaction between Damnation and Kalidas is that if you're the Kalidas player, you hop around laughing and be happy. because you just get a huge bunch of zombies and a huge
But your
load of
Kalidos dies too.
cards gets scared. Your Kalidos dies too, yes. But the Kalidos ability, it still is, when there's a board wipe, the creatures go to the graveyard simultaneously, and the Kalidos kind of still sees the other creatures going to the graveyard alongside it. So you get a huge load of zombies, and this is a very nice interaction. Yeah, it makes the card domination better. I mean, it's 2 1-offs from a sideboard.
It would be really nice if you got to see it here, because it's a really watchable situation.
But still, general, what you need to do with Dredge with those decks is awkwardly you try to need to race as much as possible. You need to beat a beat down and kind of disrupt them and race them and hope they have a bit of a clunky draw. And your deck is not really set up to doing that well, but it can do it somehow. So you need to have the draws and also mulligan hands that just don't do that.
Yeah, and I think for this reason, he brought in some of his free Thoughtseize in the sideboard. Maybe these are good interactions with the deck. Maybe he's not so familiar with the FAERIES deck, so...
That might also be a thing, because the FAERIES deck in Modern hasn't... Since the unbanning of Bitter Blossom, there hasn't been a lot of FAERIES going around in Modern.
No.
Always like kind of Bitter Blossom, a nice card, but always fell to the wayside a bit in the Modern meta game. Often more seen as a sideboard card in decks like Affinity, but now we see the Dredge player. Is he already going down to 5 here?
Yes, he's going down to 5.
And then he kept his starting hand, so this is a good start.
Yeah, but you know what? Dredge, mulligan's really, really fine.
It's true, but the thing is, you still need to have your Enabler, and you need to have your land drops for your Enabler, and you need to have a Dredger. So those are still quite a few pieces.
So, and the problem with it is that Daniel is on the play, so he can play his Disruption spell before.
Yeah, he can start with an Inquisition or a Thoughtseize on turn 1, and then it will be bye-bye Faithless Looting, for example. And that really can put the Dredge play far behind here. So if I'm on the play with Black Midrange deck against Dredge, I mulligan liberally quite a few starting hands that don't have a 1-mana discard spell, because it's the best thing you can do with those decks, except for Graveyard Hate.
So from Daniel's side, we do see here Fetch with a Bullet Delta for a Swamp, and okay, so opponent is already revealing
yeah, discard spell is happening, so Insulate Neonate will be discarded, and Daniel will go, yeah, because right now, Patrick needs to top deck another Enabler.
Faithless Looting, Faithless,
So there's nothing happening, so this is a great start from the FAERIES player. Now he needs to get pressure down. Bitter Blossom on this board would actually be great if he has different sort of pressure also, but he has the Bitter Blossom. This is the best those 2 turns can go for him. If the Dredge player fizzles another turn and does not produce another Enabler, this is very, very nice for him. Because now he gets to have counter spells up. So now if Looting gets cast next turn, he has a counter squad or something up, he can just counter it and just time walk while also dealing 2 damage here.
Sure. So seems like this game is not heavily favored for the FAERIES player Daniel. He has 3 mana up and all the control of the situation, and Bitter Blossom running.
Bitter Blossom running, he just needs to be able to increase the clock. If he has a Vendilion Click, that would be amazing now, so he gets to Vendilion Click his opponent in the draw step and
no,
just
I'm
make
not
sure
really
that
sure if I would Vendilion Click in the draw step if I have a counter in hand, because a counter is for sure counters everything.
Against Faithless Looting, I'd rather put it on the bottom of the library than in the graveyard where it can be flashbacked.
Yeah, but it's already another turn. But
there is just a Stinkweed Imp being cast.
Yeah, it's...
No Vendilion Click on the draw step, just a Stinkweed Imp, and there's a fetch. Maybe Daniel has no play this turn. That would be a bit of annoying, because Stinkweed Imp is pretty good at keeping those FAERIES token at bay for the time being. And here, we see an Expedition. What card is this, Michi?
This needs to be a watery grave.
That is correct, Michi, yeah. It's quite easy in this deck, unfortunately, because there's no... I don't think there's Expeditions of any other lands, except for the Flooded Strands and the Polluted Deltas. There's Expeditions of those as well. Are there Mutavault Expeditions?
No, there are no Mutavault Expeditions. There
is just this full art promo that is really expensive that they did back then for something. It's like one of the most expensive Magic cards. It's super rare, and it's like a couple hundred euros, yeah.
So we do see a Faithless Looting here in his hand, but I think the Spellstutter Sprite is already ready in Daniel's hand.
Spellstutter Sprite is one of your best cards in the matchup if you manage to maneuver the match in a situation like this. So your best start is you have the discard, then you have the Bitter Blossom, and then you just sit on Spellstutter Sprites, because then you can counter a lot of things that matter here. The thing is, like we see here with Life from the Loam, if you counter it still goes to graveyard, can be dredged here. Countering just gives him access to 1 more land, and so you don't counter it, obviously, because you want to counter things that are worth countering.
So,
like this Faithless Looting, I would snap counter that.
Cryptic. Oh, it was... No, he cannot play Cryptic because he has one Swamp and one Mutterball.
No,
just
but he
two
doesn't have
resources.
spells to spread. That
Oh,
sucks
boy.
because this is now turning. Like the Fairy Spray had great first 2 turns, but now he just has to let things happen apparently. And now there's...
Which second
Gus
card
come
got
back.
discarded? I did not see it.
Wasn't it the Amalgam?
Might be.
And the Amalgam's coming back already, so
Ooh,
now there's
boy.
a lot of
Pressure
power on the
is
board.
going on
And
here.
there is nothing happening. Daniel again, he's not used his mana 2 consecutive turns.
Daniel is skipping his turns. This is really not a great situation to be in, but he got a Damnation in hand, which will set both players back.
But the nation is not very good
No.
because Bloodgust and Price Amalgam will both just come back next turn together. The nation is only good if he has Graveyard Hate 2 and now he starts to attack here, which means that he will cast Damnation this time. But this is not a winning line.
No, this is not a winning line. This is a so-called staying alive line. And this doesn't bring you
He
in
has
a
a
favorite
Cryptic
situation.
in hand too.
You're
Do you
just
want a
not dying.
Damnation now or do you just want to tap down your opponent's... I think tapping down Cryptic first is better because
Think so too.
not playing Damnation gives you your routes of finding your Surgical or your Relic. Relic's even better, but even Surgical is able to get rid of all the Amalgams.
But if I'm Patrick, I would play around Cryptic Command and attack first as he's doing it right now. So he's just outvaluing the Cryptic Command. So he's playing a few nice things, doing this, doing that, damage, blah blah, and then he's going to play maybe a Life from the Loam.
Yeah, and the
or
thing is that
a
he
flashback.
he has quite a few cards in hand. I think you want to have it up to Cryptic for Conflagrate.
He has a Golgari Charm in his hand. I would not play it right now. It's an instant, or?
Golgari Charm is an instant.
So
yes.
I would just keep everything chilled and pass the turn. What will happen? The damage has already been done. Ooh, sadly the life counter is not in
It's
the
not
camera
on
right
the
now.
screen,
Doesn't matter.
but we know that we have the Dredge player beating down right now. And now we see Cryptic happening, countering the
Okay.
flashback looting with the draw, which
Should-
is still good, but yeah, it's not amazing.
You know what? Should he now cast Golgari Charm to destroy Bitter Blossom?
Should you? Yes, because I don't know what better effect you can get out of Golgari Charm in this game. Because giving all creatures -1/-1 also kills your Bloodgust, it
We
shrinks your other
do
creatures.
not know
yeah.
the life total, so I would not do it, because if he is now playing Damnation, he can bring back Bloodgast and
Yeah, sure.
Priced Amalgam.
Depends
So I
on
think
how
this is
low
better.
Daniel is. Depends on how low
Yeah.
Daniel is. The lower Daniel is, the more attractive
I
this
think
line gets, and the higher Daniel is, the
You
more I
know
would
what?
prefer the other
If
line.
Daniel is not playing Damnation, he will also destroy his board state. So it doesn't. So Patrick doesn't need to play Golgari Charm right now. He can just wait till
He
Daniel
can even
does
play at
something,
end of turn if
read
the nation gets played.
No,
yeah.
if Damnation gets played, he wants to have 5 power on board to pressure and play it in his own turn.
No, end of turn he just destroys the Bitter Blossom and then he has all the power. and play on
True.
his
Of
turn.
course, he can do both of these things. But
He
we
can
do
just
see a
destroy
Chase
it
the
end
Mind
of turn, yeah,
Sculptor
but
here.
with Chase instead here. Chase can bounce the
What?
Amalgam. Oh yeah, you probably want to bounce the
Yeah.
Amalgam, which is, it does something.
Yeah, it does something, but it's
You're
going to
also
die.
just gonna die to Conflagrate pretty soon because Conflagrate will just kill all your fairies and then those creatures will be able to continue attacking. So this
Conflagrate will kill fairies and do direct damage to the Planeswalker, I guess, or? Do you know the new wording of Conflagrate?
I think Conflagrate is
still the
probably
old
any
wording.
target. Is it?
Yeah, it's
this
any-
is, sorry,
it's any.
sorry. This is old wording. We still
Sorry.
haven't had the rule change yet because of some technical difficulties. The recording of this got a bit delayed, and now we, from the future, which means that forget about it. Rule change will happen, but right now Conflagrate can just redirect to Planeswalker, and that might happen to take care of this Chase the Mind Sculptor.
All
but
the creatures, all the board.
most importantly, yeah.
He did activate the
This is
zero
modern.
ability,
Daniel
the
just
Brainstorm.
did not use 6 mana over his turns 3 and 4. You can't do this. You need to be mana
No.
efficient. Just not using 6 mana in any matchup, and especially in a matchup like Dredge, where your opponent is
Against
trying to
an
do
aggressive
broken
opponent.
things, and broken things and be aggressive. You have tools to deal with those post-board, but you need to have them. And I think this was probably the first 2 turns were great, but maybe this hand should have mulliganed, or maybe Daniel had a start that was good enough, but he just didn't get there because he didn't draw any relevant cards after his starting hand. Not completely sure about that, but yeah, it looks pretty abysmal for him right now.
So, is he playing Golgari Charm right now? I think I would not play it because of...
No,
the
he
risk
got
of
a
spread.
tapped Stomping Ground. I'm pretty sure he's not playing it. Because
Okie dokie.
Stomping Ground seems tapped.
Yeah, seems to be. So, what is going to happen in his turn?
Yeah, I will definitely... There's no dredge, so you need to draw a card. And then you probably just will conflagrate. I mean, there's 2 mana up.
No, first of all, he needs to cast Life from the Loam. So to get those lands back.
Of course. He will loam first, getting 2 lands back. But do you attack first? Yes, you do.
Sure, you do attack first.
I'm not sure about the life total, but I would probably kind of ignore them. Jason,
Because-
I'm not completely sure you attacked it with something.
I'm not really sure. I don't think Chase is doing a lot of stuff here. He can bring back.
I mean,
Black
Chase
Gas.
can brainstorm one turn, which might give Daniel some good cards.
Yeah, but if he's going to cast Conflagrate, it doesn't really matter because he can just kill Chase with Conflagrate and rest to the face. So we'll see what's going to happen. Here.
Unfortunately, we're not able to see the life totals here, but are you able to discern life totals from the player's pads? No, we need to have some sort of...
So, back with those lands. So we are going to see
6 cards in
right
hand?
here.
5 cards in
1,
hand.
2, 5 cards. It's enough.
5 cards in hand.
It's
You probably
easily
can
enough.
discard all of them.
No, not all of them. Gargaricham, please keep
But
the
the thing
Gargaricham.
is, with the old ruling, which
Yeah.
is still in effect, you can do all the damage to Chase or all the damage to player. You can't split it up between Chase and player.
Okay, so we do see a Stinkweed being deployed here because it's really
So there-
nuts
yeah.
against Bitter Blossom. And he's just swarming his board right now. Maybe he's going to get hit by
Oh, push stayed in? I'm sorry, I'm really not a fan of this. Push is like one of those cards that you just don't want to have postboard against.
Oh,
Dredge. It
several
doesn't do
pushes
anything.
taking
It's-
Surgical Extractions came in, Kalidas came in, Bitter Blossom stayed in.
Yeah, I like all of
Spellspell
those cards
stayed.
that came in, but pushes need to come out. Those cards don't do anything against the dredge deck because the creatures all just come back or do something in the graveyard. They either dredge or come back. It's pointless killing them with push. Path's fine because pathing amalgams does something. You get rid of those 3 power permanently, sure.
I think Bush is like outvaluing yourself by playing your deck.
Pushes is like you're kind of like you're 2 for 1ing yourself
Yes.
immediately or something with 1 card. You're like 0 for 1ing. It's a temporary answer. You're like 1 for 0ing yourself. I think that's how it's best worded. And the thing is that what
maybe
Daniel can still get there. Here's the nation. He just needs to draw but he just needs to draw a Relic of Progenitus, and then he can Nation and correct Relic, and he has.
Is
the
he
Brainstorm
playing
from
Relic
Jesse.
of Progenitus?
He's playing one of Relic of Progenitus in his sideboard, which he obviously brought in. So he might get that because
Maybe
then
into
he would.
one of his surgical extractions to get rid of the Brass Amalgams.
Surgical extraction would still be fine, but getting rid of all of those things in the graveyard would be even nicer. Because the Conflagrate is still there. You want to get rid of that Conflagrate, and you also want to get rid of the Amalgams, and the Stinkweed Imp is also kind of annoying.
But you can only do so much.
With the Relic, you can do it all. That's
Yeah,
why.
sure. With the Relic, you just...
I mean, with the Brainstorm, you see 3 more cards. Maybe he's getting lucky.
He should do the...
Unfortunately, he
did
doesn't have
not?
access enough mana to go for Kalidas and but now there's already passing of the turn. So he's probably just having some Cryptic. Does he have Cryptic in his hand?
I think he has a Cryptic in his hand. Otherwise, no, he has also...
But he's just...
Snapcaster Mage Cryptic.
But he just let him attack.
What? No, maybe...
No, okay, just...
No.
Yeah,
Do not
Patrick
worry
was
about
just
this.
too fast here, so we just have a little take back because Daniel just said, wait, beginning of your combat, I will go Snapcaster Cryptic, tap down your team, draw a card, and now he bought another turn, and here's another Chase activation. So maybe he's getting somewhere, because Cryptic and Chase together, it's quite powerful. You see a lot of cards. Maybe there's a fetch land involved somewhere too, so you get to see some new cards, would be nice next turn, but overall it's a decent engine.
So, what is he going to do?
But Conflagrate still, all shields
Conflagrate's
down
still
for
good,
that. All
and
shields down.
he can play now the Gargaricham to get rid of all of his board state. He has a Life from the Loam in his hand, and only 1 land in his graveyard. Not
And you
really
want to
that
dredge
great.
that imp anyway, so having a smaller dredge Life from Loam only dredging for 3 in your graveyard does not have any added benefits for that. Chill.
Nah, he wanted, he dredged the Life from the Loam because he wanted to get back more lands with it to play Conflagrate.
Yeah, but right now he's only being able to play one more land. I'd rather dredge the imp next turn than play live from below and try to cast Conflagrate the following turn when you actually have a
Because
very
now your opponent,
meaningful-
but now the opponent is tapped out. So
sure,
maybe now
you can deal 4 now. The thing is, we're not sure about the player's life totals here. Depends how useful dealing 4 here is.
So we will see what's going on. What is he going to do? He's thinking. Does he want to cast Gorgari Charm? Yes,
I think he's just casting the Gorgari Charm right now.
Yeah, okay. It's
Yeah.
being put on a stack. What is he going to do?
I think
he
he's
will-
going for the board
for
wipe
the-
mode, right?
Yeah, for the bot web mode.
Yeah.
Blackcast also dies because this really doesn't matter.
And now he's fetching and
Blackcast
he's
comes
bringing
back,
his Blackcast,
and most likely he did this because of Blackcast now has haste. It's a hasty creature.
So all of this
now
happens
he
in the
has-
beginning of combat step, right?
Yes, this is all in the beginning of combat stats. So all the blockers got removed, Bloodgust got to the grave, the fetch land, land is being put into play, so to return Bloodgust, and now he still can attack.
And that's
through
2 additional damage.
2
Nice.
additional damage. Now
Tight
he-
play here by Patrick Smatana. Yeah, and we
really-
all happened in the beginning of combat step. After the cryptic command resolved in the beginning of combat step, tapping down team, and then this whole sequence of events here happened with the Gorgari Charm, and then the
Life-
fetch bringing back the fetch, and now Life from Below being
and
cast.
he's
Wow.
just thinking, why did he bring back the tapped land? Because I think he needs 2 red lands for Conflagrate.
That's right.
That was maybe a misplay, or maybe he just got all of his sources. We don't know this.
I'm not completely sure.
So
here.
he's going to go for it.
Yeah.
Think, this Priced Amalgam needs to be in your graveyard for the trigger to happen.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Does it need to be in the graveyard when the creature enters the battlefield from the graveyard? No, it doesn't need to be. Or?
Wait, so if it's not in... Where else would it be?
Well, in his hand, of course, like it was right now, and it didn't trigger. So
Yeah, no,
it does
because
need
it's a
to be
different
in
zone.
his
Yeah, it needs to
graveyard.
be in your graveyard for it to come
Okay.
back. You can't just slam it onto the battlefield
No,
from your hand. If it
no,
got
not
bounced,
from
yeah.
your man. Brody. If Bloodgust entered the battlefield,
Yeah.
there was a creature entering the battlefield from the graveyard, so the Priced Amalgam needs to be already in the graveyard to be triggered by this
Yes,
effect.
yes,
This is
yes.
what I wanted
Okay,
to tell
sure,
you.
sorry. I was completely confused what you meant. This is correct. You don't have like... It's not like it counts creatures that entered the battlefield from the graveyard earlier this turn. But now we have to see what the FAERIES player can do here, because the pressure is still real. Has he already resolved his brainstorm here?
I was not watching.
Okay.
Sorry. No,
we
I do
see
not
what
know.
he can do here. I mean, he has another Snapcaster, but there's not another Cryptic here in the
No,
graveyard.
not another cryptic, but there's another chase in his hand, I would guess so. At least from the artwork.
But that's not amazing here. Chase
No,
is
this
not
is
what he wants
not
to do.
amazing.
Mistbind Click would be nice. But
Oh,
now it's
and
just
dredging left from low.
stretch. Narcomoeba,
oh boy.
2 lootings.
This is crazy. Okay, I think... Oh. Okay, there's the second cryptic command.
Yep, that buys him another turn, but he still needs to kind of... He doesn't have any pressure. He needs pressure.
No, he
needs
doesn't have any pressure, and he's slowly killing himself with bit
But
of
he's
blossom.
got the Snapcaster, so he's another turn of Cryptic. Maybe he gets down enough mana but that he can attack
Sadly,
with the Mutavault at
we-
least for 2 additional
Yeah,
points
but
of damage.
sadly we do not know how low Daniel is in this game, because maybe Bitter Blossom is just killing him really slowly.
Maybe it's
So,
not even that
faceless
slowly. We see
looting.
looting gets flashbacked, and we have a Dredge here, Stink
Oh
with him,
boy.
and now we have another Narcomoeba, another Loam in the
Sweet.
graveyard, which you
Another
can...
Loam, maybe, or is there another Stinkweed Imp? No,
There's a Thug which dredges for 4, so it's in between these, and now you dredge Dark Blast and another Conflagrate, and there's the Handshake.
GG's, good games, people. Patrick won this game even with a mulligan to 5. Like I said before, Dredge really mulligans good to 5 or even also to 4 and sometimes. And also what Walter mentioned before, Daniel did not use his mana several turns in a row, so and this against an aggressive busted deck. This is not in a situation where you want to be. You want to build up pressure and disrupt your opponent, like in this case the Dredge player, and kill him before he can get you. This did not happen, and the Dredge player did all he wanted with his deck and had the time to do so.
Yeah, let's see how the players sideboarded here. The thing is, because I'm interested in what Daniel took out, because he kept those pushes in, which I think should have definitely come out. Like, I like those cards he boarded in. I would have boarded those in too. But it took, I don't know, did he bring in? Yeah, he brought in additional protectors from the side. But I do like that, because the protectors can still take away on the play. They're good. I don't like them to draw as much. On the play, they can take away Cathartic Reunion before there is a chance for Dredge player to cast it. And I agree with those cards that got boarded in here. But the question is, no, I think that's a Relic, not an Engineered Explosives. Engineered Explosives from Dredge player side. Sure, sorry about that. But the thing is, what did he board out? What did Daniel board out? Let's see if we can catch a glimpse here. How do you feel about the Dredge player side boarding? Very light here, only 3 cards.
Yeah, you know, you can only board out so much with a Dredge deck because it's a combo deck. You need a lot of the pieces for it to be reliable. So yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. You do not need a lot in this matchup. You just need one or few twitches, you know, like handling an early Bitter Blossom with Engineered Explosives or the Golgari Charm or Maelstrom Plus. And Maelstrom Pulse kills also in some other nasty things. So I think this is a good way to sideboard. Would I have brought in something else? No. Maybe on the play Thoughtseize, but nah, not really. Why? No, I think the minimalistic boarding is the right thing to do here.
But it seemed like Daniel did take out at least some copies of Fatal Push, but not all of them, because we saw a Fatal Push in their post board.
Yeah, sure, I think 2 were still in, 2 or 3. Not 4.
Yeah, and he sided out Thoughtseizes. I really disagree with siding out Thoughtseizes. This card is one of the best angles of attack against Dredge. And compared to Hollow One has 8 turn 1 plays, where you need to have it like on the draw. It doesn't do anything because they have 8 plays. Dredge only has 4. They have the Insolent Neonates too. They're good, but they're not as backbreaking.
It's just the 2 off in his deck.
It's just the 2 of you. Okay, yes. So he's got 6, and I think the Insolent Neonates are worse than the Lootings or the Burning Inquiries in the Hollow One deck
I think
compared to that deck. So yeah, and then you still on the draw you get to take away Cathartic Reunion. So this card's still great because it's only one of the few ways you can actually get the Dredge player to just look at their hand and be like, I have got all those cards I want to have in my graveyard in my hand, and I can't do anything.
But you know what, Burning Inquiry in this deck would not be as good as in the Hollow One deck because it's because of how it is worded. In all the in most of the draw spells, Dredge plays, it's like discard draw, like Insolent Neonate and how's the other card again called? Cathartic Reunion. Just Faithless Looting is draw and then discard. So these cards are perfectly suited for this type of graveyard deck. And Dredge is still strong after the banning of, how is the Golgari thing called?
Golgari Grave Troll.
Grave Troll, the big monster.
Which was the Dredge 6 card, and now
sweet.
Deck has just subbed Golgari Thugs in instead of those Grave Trolls, Dredge 4 instead of Dredge 6. The deck's still strong if people don't have enough graveyard hit.
Yeah, well, it's a neat deck and really, really good and powerful. Thank you for watching. If you like what we are doing, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up. If you want us to do anything special in one of our next videos, comment below. And if you want to have a notification when our new videos come out, subscribe to our channel, and hopefully to see you in the next vid.